Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Hello everyone, Namaste. This is the second video in series of 5 videos on Chapter 1 Arjuna Vishada Yoga. Please visit our channel to watch more videos on Bhagavad Gita. You may also check the playlist which has chanting of Bhagavad Gita. As we see here, there are 4 slides in this video. The first slide shows the total number of verses in chapter 1. As we can see here, among the 47 verses in chapter 1, Dhritarashtra spoke 1, Sanjaya spoke 24, and Arjuna spoke 22. It appears there are some Bhagavad Gita editions having 46 verses in chapter 1. It is possible that the text of the chapter was covered in 46 verses instead of 47. The text of chapter 1 is a little complex in terms of its conversation. Division of conversation into verses was not as clarified as in other chapters. The slide 2 displays the verses grouped by the message. In the first verse, Dhritarashtra asks Sanjaya to report the war happenings to him. In Mahabharata, before the war began, Vyasa comes to Dhritarashtra and offers him Divya Drishti or divine vision so that he could see the war proceedings remotely. Dhritarashtra shows disinterest to witness the war and says that Vyasa could grant Divya Drishti to Sanjaya, his charioteer. The war has started. It went on for 9 days. On the 10th day, Bhishma fell in the hands of Arjuna. This message reaches Dhritarashtra as a great shock because Dhritarashtra had been confident that Bhishma is a mighty warrior and he would give a great fight and his sons would be safe. He anxiously asks Sanjaya to report the war from the beginning. The first verse is spoken in that context. Dhritarashtra said to Sanjaya, Sanjaya, gathered on the sacred soil of Kurukshetra, eager to fight, what did my children and the children of Pandu do? Then verses 1.2 to 1.20, Sanjaya narrates the battle formation, details of army commanders in the field, exuding fighting spirit among the armies, and resonating sounds of conches, drums, trumpets, and more. People were celebrating the beginning of war. It shows how eager and spirited they were. Special mention was made about the grand chariot of Bhagavan Krishna, which was yoked with white horses. Next in verses 1.2 to 1.23, 1.21 to 1.23, Arjuna asks Krishna to stop the chariot between two armies so that he can have a glance at those who were eager for the war and with whom he would have to engage in war. Next in verses 1.24 to 1.25, Sanjaya narrates that Krishna places the grand chariot in the midst of two armies facing Bhishma, Dronacharya and other kings. Next verses 1.26 to 1.46 describes Arjuna's reaction on seeing the Kaurava army. In the Kaurava army, Arjuna takes a glance at his uncles, grandfathers, teachers, maternal uncles, brothers, sons, grandsons, and other comrades in the field and gets into a dilemma, goes emotional and delusional, expresses concern about the evils of war, disturbance to social order in the post-war situation, and expresses that he would prefer to beg alms instead of enjoying pleasures of kingdom by slaying his grandfather, teacher, relatives, and others. He felt it might be better for him to stand unarmed and be killed by his cousin brothers instead of killing them for the sake of pleasures of kingdom. Lastly, in the verse 1.47, Sanjaya reports that after expressing his dilemma, Arjuna sat down on the seat of the chariot, casting aside his bow and arrow. Arjuna's mind goes overwhelmed with sorrow. This is the most important turn of first chapter. In slide 4, we can see some of the references from slokas in chapter 1. These form important in the entire conversation of chapter 1. However, I may say that there is no verse or word which is not important in Bhagavad Gita. The attribution of importance to any single verse purely depends on how the sadhaka understands Bhagavad Gita. The message of Bhagavad Gita is obvious and unobvious. Most of the Bhagavad Gita text tells us the obvious meaning of verses. The unobvious meaning or tattvartha can be understood by a sadhaka during his ascetic sadhana. Anyone who carries sattvic shraddha to understand the message of Bhagavan Krishna with utmost bhakti on Krishna, he would be able to grasp the inner meaning of Bhagavad Gita. It may take time for someone to achieve it, but it is not impossible. The best thing to achieve this would be that after understanding the obvious meaning of Bhagavad Gita, we should start meditating on the verses and message. We have to understand the coordinated message of verses than trying to catch up with the message of each sloka in isolation. With this, we close the video 2. We will continue our understanding through next videos. Om Krishna.